Hi, thanks for joining me today. This will be a pretty quick video. I just wanted to share the Father's Day cards I made for this year, and it's not going to be a make. This will be more of a showcase because I only needed to make three, so I didn't do a full flip. And I also kind of just wanted to go freeform and not stick to my normal flip format. So this is the first one. This is going to my dad. He is a um, sort of a hobbyist photographer, and so I thought the little camera, instant camera, would be really cute. And accompanying the card is going to be a photo mini album that I'm making for him. It's not going to be so many because it'll be like a 10.5 by 10.5 album, and the idea being that he can print out 8 by 10s of some of his favorite photographs that he's taken, and then sort of slip them into the photo album and sort of have like a photography book that he can show to his friends and whomever he'd like. So so that's why this is themed that way. I know it's not very Father's Day-ish, but I did stamp Happy Father's Day on the inside. This was using my Pegs stamps. So it turns out that I don't actually have a stamp with Father's Day sentiment. So that's why the Pegs stamps are so nice, because you can, spell out whatever you need. So this is an interactive card. So got a little pull here, and this is mounted on foam so that this can slide underneath and have room. And then when he pulls out the Polaroid, it says, "You are number one." So I thought that was kind of cute. It's sort of a fun little interactive element. I know it does cover the say cheese a little bit. I adhered the letters on before I should have left the Polaroid in and then put the letters on so that I could steer clear from that, but I think it's fine. So that's that first one. Second one, this one's going to my father-in-law. So this is I think it's one of the Spellbinders, I think maybe one of their large die of the months. And so it's their truck, and the die set comes with a lot of different little items that you can sort of load into the truck bed. So, and it's themed for all year round. So there are beach things in there, flowers, pumpkins for the fall, and Christmas tree and presents for the holidays. So super cute. I just decided to leave it plain. But I gave him a nice gold truck with the plate saying "You are great," and then this is a wiper card. So when he pulls on both sides, it says "Number One Dad." So I thought that was really cute. And on the back is where I stamped "Happy Father's Day," and this is probably where we'll write our message and sign. So that's the second one. Okay, so last card. This is going to Dan. He's my stepfather-in-law. And this card I actually made 3 times. So I'll show you the final card, and then I'll show you my previous iterations too, just for kicks. So on the back though, I did put something on the back of the belly band as well. It just says "Just for you." This was die cut from another part of the card, and I just didn't want it to go to waste, so I thought, oh, I'll just stick it on the back. It wasn't big enough to fit Dan's name, so that's why I didn't use it on the front, but I didn't want it to go to waste, so I thought decorating the back would be fun, because I often just forget about the back. So there's the belly band, and then you open it up, and you get a couple of moving parts. So the first is sort of this shutter peekaboo element that reveals a little golf ball and a golf tee He's a big fan of golfing. And then the second element is, again, another wiper. So the little speech bubble pops up and says hole in one. So I thought that was pretty cute, and then I used the exact same Pegs stamp to put Happy Father's Day. So, really fun card. I guess this could be considered an interactive card. Maybe I would consider it a pop-up card since, you know, all the fun aspects are on the inside. But let me show you, oh, and just in case it's probably not super obvious, but these two cards are 5x7, and the first one I showed you is a standard A2 4¼ by 5 1/2. So I did need to go a little bit larger on, I guess I should put it that way, a little bit larger on these last two, so that the moving elements of the wiper and all of that would have enough room to kind of pop up and feel substantial. And so let me show you my first two iterations on Dan's card. So my first one was this. I was trying to kind of use up some pattern paper from my stash, and I thought that this would work really well for, you know, a male card, a masculine card. I mean, I did use scallops here, but mostly because there's scallops, you know, in the pattern too. So I thought, you know, and it's in brown, so it doesn't really look floral or anything. So I thought that that still worked okay. And it's the same shutter mechanic. It's just upon reveal, you see a little dog, which I thought was super cute until I showed my husband, and he was like, oh, except Dan doesn't really like dogs. So this card's going to somebody else who is a fan of dogs. I don't know who yet, but at least it doesn't have a sentiment. So I haven't put anything at the bottom, so I can still customize it and personalize it for somebody else. So there's that. So then my husband asked me, well, can you make something, you know, do you have anything golf themed? And so that's when I went towards this sort of green, you know, sort of golf course lush green. And there are always like the different, you know, types of greens on a golf course. So I think I have like 3 shades of green here. So this is the exact same as what you saw. The problem is when I put the wiper element in this corner here for that little speech bubble, there wasn't enough room for it to sort of fold back down and sort of clear the edge of this band here. So I ended up just cutting it off because I think this card is still pretty cute and it can go to somebody else who is a fan of golfing. And so I think definitely still a really nice card, but I was very determined to get that little speech bubble wiper element. So let me show you the difference. Ultimately, this sort of panel right here, it's the same width as on the small card as is on the 5x7 card. The difference is that keeping it the same meant that I got an extra like quarter. I'll put the two sides together like this. So you can see I have just that extra 1/4 of an inch or so between this fold and where this band begins. And that was just enough space. I mean, it seems like such a small amount of space, but it was just enough for the speech bubble to pop out. Nearly, you know, and I probably could nudge this over a little bit more so that it is visible in full. But, and the second adjustment I made was to move the shutter mechanic down a little bit. So you can see on the original card, it's more towards this top section up here. So that just gave very little room for anything to pop up, and it was, I think, covered by about like that much. And so, with only that much popping out, you really couldn't tell that it was a speech bubble, and it just didn't really make that much sense. So, here, at least you can see the little triangle at the bottom of the speech bubble, which is the real, like, indicator of a speech bubble. So, this is still, like, a really nice card, and my husband would have been perfectly happy to send this card as is without the speech bubble. But, like I said, I was very determined to get this mechanic to work. So I just supersized the card to a 5x7, and then that was just enough room to get that element included. So there's that card. I didn't use a lot of different dies or products, but if you are interested, this card I used. Sizzix had a sale, and was it their spring clearance? It might have been their spring clearance sale. I picked up a lot of goodies, and this was one of them. This was a dice that I was eyeing for some time, and there's the product number if you're curious. And I just really, it felt like such a novelty that I didn't want to spend the money. But then when it went on super sale, I thought, oh, okay. I'll get it, especially since by then I had already decided that I was giving my dad the photo album for Father's Day, and so I thought, oh, this is going to be perfect, because I had the idea to make this card, but I was just going to hand cut my own pieces to make the camera, and when the sale came around, I thought, phew, now I don't have to do that, I could just use the die. So it does come with a lot of fun little goodies. You've got like a photo frame and little photo corners, and sort of a look. It's sort of a film strip, but not really. But still super cute. So yeah, lots of fun things, and I could definitely see myself using a lot of these elements on some mini albums, decorations for mini albums and whatnot. So that was that, and then the letters, I was really happy to. These weren't on super sale, but they're so cute, and I just couldn't resist. So they are dies that sort of cut out these brush letters, and I bought both the capital letters and the lowercase letters. They're sold separately, but they do come with the lowercase letters do come with the numbers too, so that was really nice. So it's like a nice full set between the two, and the capital letters has the extra punctuation. So it's just really nice to be able to die cut out these more scripty letters, and not just, because usually, at least in my case, the die cuts that I have of letters are more blocky. So I like that you can really just sort of overlay them just a smidge, and then it sort of looks all connected. So that's one thing that I really liked. And this, the Polaroid, is actually another Sizzix die. And if you cut my one of my other mini album showcases, you would have seen that I used these quite a lot. They are photo frames, and I picked up some more of these actually because on their spring clearance, some of these went on super sale as well, and I did pay a little extra for the original ones that I got, but that's okay. When I went on super sale, I just got the rest of the ones that I didn't buy initially. So now I think I have just about all of them. But anyways, that's the product number, and there are 5 or 6, I think, different variations themed differently. And in this case, I just used the frame. So I die cut it twice, once from white and once from this light blue to match the camera. and I inlaid the light blue one back in, and it's backed with it almost looks like a Polaroid, because on the back of a Polaroid, it's got that black, panel too. But I used the blue so that I could die cut into that layer the sentiment, and what I used for that was this die set from Tim Holtz and Sizzix. So there's the product number. This is I've used this a lot, but I actually haven't used it to actually create the little sort of gift bag. But this little bag is sort of, I guess it's about the size for a gift card, so it's perfect for that. And I was mostly attracted to this die set for the letters, because I think it's kind of a fun font with the sort of the disconnected portions of the letter. So that's what I used for this, and I think that's everything that I used on this card. Let's see. This card, oh, we went through that. So that was this is the Spellbinders Die of the Month with their truck. And there wasn't really anything special on this one. Just some, a hexagon cut. Oh, I did use for, you don't see it here because I trimmed it off, but to cut the, tails on the banner flag, I actually used the Tonic Studios bunting die, and I just lined it up at the bottom where it just cuts out those kind of fishtails, and that's how I sort of was able to line it up so that it was centered, and then it gives you this detail of the little dots and the little embossed line. So that's what I used for that. I used it on the final card too, but then I wanted the opening to be bigger, so I actually ended up cutting along the embossed line to just take away that little extra bit so that the opening would be a little bit larger. But yeah, so that's about it. Thanks so much for joining me for this little showcase of my Father's Day cards. I hope that you enjoyed them, and until my next video, happy crafting and have a fantastic day. Bye!